Imagine this, a radical idea that would completely bypass the world's most critical energy corridor, that vital waterway sitting right at the center of a geopolitical chessboard. In this episode, we take a close look at why the Strait of Hormuz matters so much, and at that audacious engineering dream that promises to rewrite geography itself. What does this 20% actually mean? It means one-fifth of the world's daily oil supply, yes, every single day, must pass through a single narrow waterway. This simple fact carries the power to plunge the entire global economy into chaos within seconds, and that is precisely what makes this topic so critical. All right, let's dive deep. Let's start by defining the problem, by understanding why this choke point is so indispensable. Yes, this is exactly what a strategic choke point means, and the Strait of Hormuz is the living embodiment of that definition. Think about it. It is virtually the only gateway to the world for oil giants like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Kuwait. The strait's total width of 34 kilometers may sound broad, but that number is deeply misleading. What truly matters is the navigable corridor wide enough for massive tankers to pass safely, and that corridor is just 3 kilometers wide in each direction, an incredibly tight passage. Let's emphasize that figure once more so the gravity of the situation is fully understood. Approximately 20 million barrels of oil pass through that narrow corridor every single day. That is nearly one-fifth of all the oil consumed on the planet. The slightest disruption here would not, trust me, remain a regional problem. Its impact would ripple across the entire world instantly, hitting everyone's pockets directly, from New York to Tokyo, from London to Istanbul. So what can be done in the face of such an enormous risk? This is exactly the point where that audacious idea, one that proposes to rewrite geography in the most literal sense, enters the picture. Introducing the Musandam Canal concept. The idea itself is remarkably simple: to allow ships exiting the Persian Gulf to completely bypass the Strait of Hormuz and reach the open ocean directly without passing through it at all. This concept captures just how extraordinary the project is and how fundamentally it could change the rules of the game. Imagine reshaping geography entirely by your own will. Of course, some alternatives do exist. Saudi Arabia and the UAE have pipelines, for instance, but the volumes they carry are a mere drop in the ocean compared to the massive quantities transported by tankers. Global energy supply remains hostage to giant ships. Looking at a map, it seems like a brilliant idea, doesn't it? But reality, believe me, is far more complex. Let's now look at why this dream might remain just that, a dream, and at the staggering obstacles standing in its way. The first place this project hits a wall is right here. This is not a desert. On the contrary, it is one of the most rugged mountainous regions in the Middle East. Building a canal here doesn't mean digging through sand, it means blasting through mountains. Try to imagine the sheer scale of what would need to be done. We're talking about detonating millions of tons of rock, reshaping entire mountains, just to carve out a canal wide enough for the world's largest vessels, supertankers, to pass through. And of course, there would be the devastating environmental consequences. Each of these challenges alone is an engineering nightmare. Now let's talk about the financial side. The economic scale of this project is truly beyond comprehension. To put it in perspective, even massive undertakings like the Panama Canal expansion look almost trivial by comparison. We're talking about a potential price tag in the hundreds of billions of dollars. On top of all these technical challenges, there is also political reality. Oman, the country that owns this territory, has no such plan whatsoever. In fact, its national development strategy is heading in an entirely different direction, and here is the most critical point raised by the project's critics. This project does not solve the core problem, the dependence on a single point of passage. All it does is take the choke point from the Strait of Hormuz and relocate it to the entrance of an artificial canal. That's it. So if it's this close to impossible, why does this idea stubbornly remain on the agenda? The answer to that question is actually what helps us understand the entire essence of the subject. The true power of this idea lies in humanity's desire to challenge nature and